What's one word you'd use to describe the salon?
Welcoming.
Welcoming? Why?
When we wanted to be a little bit different than a lot of salons in the sense that we wanted it to be almost like a little bit of a club for our clients, you know. Mm-hmm. It's a place where it's like a little oasis away from all the stresses of New York and life, and they can come here and relax, be taken care of and pampered and leave feeling good and looking good, you know. Yeah. So, you know, when I was raised in the capital to start the salon, somebody once, one of the guys asked me what was the culture of the salon. Mm-hmm. And it was a bit of a joke, and I said I wanted it to be like Cheers meets Christian Dior, mm-hmm. you know, in the sense that I wanted it to be this sort of place where everybody knows who you are. You come in, everybody knows you. It's a friendly environment, but with very high quality work and great craftsmanship and great service, you know. So I always find if you could get that balance of like, you know, where people feel appreciated, they don't just feel like dollar signs with hair on top, you know. Mm-hmm. It's like we can create this community where the clients start to know each other and everybody starts to, and that really, I think when we went through COVID, really came to the forefront that we'd been on the right path, because people came here feeling very safe, and it was a real good, it was a pick-me-up for them, you know, because it's like, you know, you watch TV and you thought, oh my gosh, the world's going to hell, and you look in the mirror and think, oh my gosh, I'm going with it, you know. But they could come here and get a break from that and a respite from that, and be pampered and looked after, and they could forget about all this trouble and then feel good about themselves. And psychologically, if you look better, you feel better, you know. So we've always tried to make the salon like a very welcoming environment, not this sense of we're doing you a favor by doing your hair, you know, because we know our clients, if they're coming to us, can go anywhere. So we treat it as we appreciate you coming in to see us. We know you can go anywhere. We value you as a client. And then a lot of the clients have been coming to us now for many, many years. And it's kind of transcended being a client more into sort of friendship, you know, and we have relationships with our clients, and we try and go all out for our clients. So I would definitely say the one thing, if I had to sum the salon's culture up in one word, I would say it's welcoming. You know, we try and welcome everybody.
All right. So Kieran, you're from England. What made you want to move to New York City?
So I'd worked in New York periodically. When I was working in London, I was doing photo shoots and fashion shows. And then through that, I did a couple of photo shoots in New York, and then I got involved with 7th on 6th when all the tents were down in Bryant Park, and all the fashion shows were there. So I worked a lot backstage at some of those fashion shows, and the salon I worked for in London was a salon called the John Frieda Salon. And when John opened his first salon in New York, he wanted me to come over because I'd had a New York experience. You know, I'd worked here, so I kind of knew my way around the city a little bit, and I had connections here already in the city. So, and then he wanted somebody that could come, build up a clientele very quickly, get the salon off the ground very quickly. So he asked me to come over, and you know, I'd lived in London. I loved living in London, but it's not New York.
Yeah.
And New York, you know, there's an energy to New York that's very unique, and I think New York is a very special place in that way. So, you know, it was a great opportunity to come. And originally I thought, you know, I'll come for 6 months and get the salon off the ground and get it going, you know, and then, but it's just, I think New York, you know, you either love it or you hate it, and I just loved it. I just loved it straight away, and I still feel that way now. You know, whenever I fly back in, you know, you come in to JFK and you come into the Midtown Tunnel, there's that rise, and you come over, and then the city's all laid out in front of you, and you just think, I'm living in that, you know? And it's an amazing feeling, and I don't really get that feeling about a lot of it. I can appreciate the cities, and they're beautiful, and their personalities, but I think New York is unique in that way, and there's an energy in New York that you just don't get anywhere else. And after 6 months, it was that energy is kind of very addictive, you know. Like this is it, and I decided to stay. I just liked, and I also liked the attitude here, which I think is a very, you know, New York attitude. It's, you know, you can go as far as your skill and your drive takes you. And if you're lucky enough to have a little bit of luck in that thrown in as well, the sky's the limit in New York. You can go, you can go from nothing to everything, depending on how much drive and ambition you have and your skill set. And I love that. There wasn't any barriers. I think in some countries there are some social barriers or status barriers, that like makes it harder, or the economic climate there makes it harder. I think in New York you don't really have those kind of barriers. I think it's there for the taking if you have the drive and the energy to go after it and chase, the American dream. Chase the dream. So.
Definitely. What other skills besides hairstyling do you need to run a successful salon?
An inordinate amount of patience. An inexhaustible supply. Joking aside, you've got to be patient, you have to stay calm. You're dealing with a tremendous amount of different personalities. Every client that comes in is a different person with a different personality, so it's not a one-size-fits-all. You're dealing with a team of very creative people, also different personalities, different skill sets, so I think the skills you need to be able to listen. That's one of the things. Listen to what your team is telling you. Listen to what your clients are telling you. And then you need to have the confidence to then act on that, to make the right decisions. And which is hard because, at the beginning you second guess yourself, am I doing this the right way? Could I be doing this better? But over time that confidence builds up and you get better at it and you start to get a sense of what the right thing is to do. And so I would say listening, patience, and the ability to stay calm and not panic. Because you have to be a leader, and you can't panic in front of your team. You want your team to have the faith in you that you're going to steer the ship in the right direction, and you have it under control. So you have to stay level-headed, even when things look dire. You have to be. It's like the shark. You just got to keep going forward. You can't worry about what happens. It's done. You have to let that go. Just focus on the next thing, and problem solving. So you have these problems or these roadblocks that come up, and you have to have the ability to get over it, around it, under it, through it, whatever it takes. But you have to be able to do that. And as a small business owner or an entrepreneur, you have to be able to take the hits because they're going to come. Get up, dust yourself off, be the shark, keep going forward.
Yep.
So you have to have resilience, I think, as well. And so resilience is definitely a big part of it. And I think you have to have that strength, that inner strength to be able to do it, because otherwise it's stressful.
Yeah.
And the worry, because we have a team of 21 here, so I have 21 people that rely on me, and not only that, their families are relying on them. So it's up to me to make sure the salon is successful, that they have a good career, that they achieve the goals that they want to achieve. You only know what goals people want to achieve by listening. Listen to what they want, and then see how that aligns with what you want to do. And then how can we get this together, which is your problem solving, so we both get a mutual beneficial outcome from this. And then having the strength to stick it out, like I say, be resilience to take the knocks but still implement it, still keep it moving.
Definitely. As an in-person salon, what challenges did you run into during COVID?
I remember being upstate, and it was 2 months into the lockdown. Initially when we were told we were going to have to close, we were told this was going to be 2 weeks, to flatten the curve. Okay, 2 weeks. And then when it got longer and longer and longer, and then, there was the issues, how do we pay our bills? We're not making any revenue. We have no revenue coming in. We're not able to see clients, and that was, we were in, because then, how do we pay our team? Then at least, they have bills that still have to pay, their mortgages, rents and food and whatnot. So that was a real challenge. And I remember being really nervous about it, and talking to my wife about it, saying, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen. And then my wife was the one who said, you'll find a way. That's what you do. You're the leader, so lead. Find a way around this. So what we did, we thought about it, and we decided it was a little bit of a sort of Muhammad in the mountain moment. If the mountain can't come to us, then we're going to go to the mountain. So if the clients can't come to us, we'll go to them. So we got a portable chair, shampoo basin, all the proper corrective, protective clothing, and all hand sanitizer and double masks, K95s, the whole nine, and we had a thing built that we could put colour in the back of the car, and we literally would get in the car and drive out to our clients' homes, and we would pick a day and an area for the day. So we'd say, okay, Wednesday we're doing the Hamptons, and our manager Gino, who was phenomenal, would quarterback it, and we'd put an email out saying, we're going to be in this area on this day in the Hamptons. Anybody, whoever's interested, please let us know. And then we would set up those appointments, and I would drive and I would drop off a colorist at someone's house, I'd drop my keratin guy off at somebody else's house, drop one of my stylists off at another house. I would go and do clients, I'd come back, pick up my colorist, take them somewhere else, cut the people that they just colored, and that's how we were able to do it. And we were able to, we were in people's pool houses, backyards, rooftops, terraces, wherever people felt comfortable, and it was great. It really, our clients really appreciated it, because it was a very scary time, and I think having us show up kind of get people a sense of normality, and but that was what got us through COVID. And I think being a small business, we were able to do that really well, because we could be more nimble. We were able to pick up and change and turn on the dime. I think if we were a bigger business, that's much harder to make those decisions on the fly. And we were able to do that. We went all over the Hamptons. We went everywhere from Deal all the way up to Long Beach Island on the Jersey Shore, everywhere from Bronxville, Scarsdale, Armonk, Rye, up to Bedford, everywhere from Westport up to Kent, Connecticut, Atlantic Beach, as I say, all over the Hamptons, down to Florida, down to the Carolinas. We would get on a plane, fly the team down to see people, because people had, left the city, they'd gone to, their second or third homes, and so we were all over Florida, everywhere, picking, Florida, and then Colorado, Montana, the Carolinas. So we would just get up and go, and that was how we did it. And it was a great way, because it kept our clients loyal to us, because they didn't have to look for somewhere else. We were coming to them. It also reinforced that ethos of the salon, that welcoming environment. So it really brought people, it brought us together, and we built up a tremendous amount of loyalty with our clients. So in some respects, it actually worked out really well for us, because a lot of those clients remember that, us coming out and looking after them and taking care of them. And so when they came back to New York, they stayed with us as clients. So that really, really helped. That's what got us through COVID. And I think the companies that didn't, or the salons that didn't, are suffering now because of it.
From a client's perspective, what is the number one difference between going to a chain salon and a small business like yours?
Number one, this is bespoke, it's curated. Again, we don't do a one-size-fits-all. Everybody is treated as an individual, everybody's hair needs are individual. We don't do the same on this client as we do on that client. Whatever we do is unique for that client. So in the same respect as it's like buying a suit off the rack or having a suit tailor-made. And that's not to belittle the chain salons. It's a different aesthetic and a different sensibility and a different clientele. Our clients are used to a certain culture, a certain level. That what I like to call front of the plane clients. And they don't want off the rack. They want individual. They want it, curated specifically for their own hair needs and how they like to see themselves. And so we try and. I think the big difference there is it's definitely more personalized to the individual, it's catered more to the individual, And so the level of work has to be a little higher because of that. You know,
Yeah.
Again, I would use a tailor as a great example of that. Rather than be sort of machine made in the factory, this is all, handmade, tailoring. And there's a difference in the quality. I think that's the difference.
Yeah. What are your biggest accomplishments being a small business owner?
Getting through the first 5 years,
Yeah.
getting through COVID. That was a huge
Yeah.
accomplishment. I read an article many years ago, and they said if you're a small business and you're still going after 5 years, you're in with a shot. And it's very hard. I mean, because there's a lot of small businesses that start up and just don't make it, and especially in a city like New York where it's very competitive. But if you can still keep going after 5 years and you're still, you're not in the red, then I think that's a huge accomplishment. And not just in this industry, but in a lot of industries, I have a huge amount of admiration and a lot of respect for anybody who can start a small business in New York and make it successful and have longevity with it. There's a lot of businesses that come and go, a lot of businesses. And to be one of those that has longevity and staying power and become part of a neighborhood and part of a community, I think that's probably our biggest accomplishment, because now we're sort of known in our area. We're part of the community up here, which is what we want it to be. And so I think that's probably our biggest, I would say, getting that first 5 years under our belt and surviving through COVID. That was absolutely, because as you know, there's a lot of businesses that didn't make it, and a lot of businesses now that are failing directly because of what happened with COVID. So I would definitely say 5 years in business and surviving COVID.
What are your future goals and ambitions for the salon?
Well, a lot of people have said, we should open a second salon, where, like the Hamptons or Florida, because we have a lot of clients there. But I don't want to grow the salon anymore. I don't want the salon to be any bigger than it is. I like having a boutique salon because I think it's more intimate, more personal. And I think you can give better quality service for that. But I think the next goal for us would probably be products, designing our own product line.
Yeah.
And try and do it from a hairdresser's perspective. And what do we know that works? What do we know is really good for people's hair, and try and design a product line around that. A simple, small line that addresses the real needs that people have with their hair. Not the sort of the shelf fillers you see in a lot of drugstores. But actually come up with a line that really does work, that really does achieve and get the results people want from their hair. So I think that's probably going to be, within the next few years, will be our next goal. Now I think, hopefully COVID's in the rearview mirror. We can start coming out of that and rebuilding up again. I think that will be our next thing, will be products again.
All right.